Welcome to Montague Group's Conversations That Connect. We're here with Suki and Tayla, and today, what do you guys want to talk about?
We've noticed that it's quite large in the US at the moment, and it's called coffee badging. And it's not so common here in Australia, but it could potentially be something that could come to Australia. We have no idea. But we thought it was really interesting to discuss and see your thoughts. So basically what it is for it's basically a response to the return to office mandates. And basically what people are doing, if they are on a hybrid model at the moment, they're coming into the office, essentially getting their badge to say, hey, I'm here, grab a coffee, say your good mornings, and then go back home and work for the rest of the day, or go work somewhere else that's more preferred. And it's quite big in the US at the moment. Which is really interesting. And I think it's very surface level to a bigger problem.
Yes. It's actually I think it's the symptom of 100%. What we're seeing in the market. And it was interesting. I think it's a very new thing. So Tayla, you put up a poll on LinkedIn that is actually we've had some really good response, and it's a really just an interesting some stats that have come out of that.
So I thought let's hear from our Australian market and see what people think about coffee badging, if they've ever heard of coffee badging, that sort of thing. So it's probably only been up for 24 hours at the moment, and we've had quite a large response to it, which is really great. So if you haven't already seen it, jump on and let us know your thoughts. But as we're sitting at the moment, 30% would give it a go. 33% is not a fan of the idea. And interesting enough, most of those votes do come from senior leaders or management, which is really interesting as well. 8% are open to it, but have their concerns and reservations. And 30% have never heard of it before. So, really interesting. And the people who have voted and where they are sitting in terms of a hierarchy, I guess you could say, it's very interesting.
And I think we just wanted to ask the question. The first time I heard of it, I read an article about it, and it's like, what is this? And honestly, I don't know how I feel about it. What it says about you as a person, if you clock in, have a coffee, and then pretend to be at work. But then the other side is what does it say about your organization if they don't even realize you as a person are not there during the day? And does it really matter, because at the end of the day, you're actually delivering what is expected of you and you're not in the office? So there's a whole bunch of, my head just went, there's a whole bunch of areas that, so we don't have any answers. We're just literally asking the question, and it seems like this is bubbling up in the US. It's something that they're dealing with at the moment. And it's a trend that will come to Australia, and that will become a little bit more well-known. And maybe there's people doing it already, and there's no title for what that is. And now it's actually just been given a title. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting what the result is of people being forced to go back to the office after working remotely 100% of the time. And it's just questions around what works for employees, but then also what works for employers. And I think that's trying to find that middle ground. And the middle ground, like we've spoken about before, is different for every organization. And it's different for departments within organizations. We'd love to
They,
hear your thoughts.
yeah, exactly. And I think because I deep dived a little bit into this because I thought it was quite interesting. And there was a few surveys that got thrown around in the US. And so there was one conducted in August this year, so only a couple of months ago by IBI. And basically it revealed that around 47% of employees are willing to consider quitting their jobs if a return to office mandate comes into effect. So that, to me, that's massive. Like 47%, that's almost half of the workforce that they surveyed are willing to just quit their jobs.
Yeah.
But also quitting a job isn't really feasible for a lot of people, especially in today's society. So that is probably a result of why coffee badging has become more relevant, because they can't quit, but they don't want to go into the office. So they're sneaking around it.
Yes.
And how to get away with that is coffee badging. So yeah. And the other one that was done, it was done by Our Labs, and they surveyed 2,000 hybrid working employees. So basically what I did on the poll for LinkedIn for the Australian market, this one's just for the US market. So out of the 2,000 hybrid workers, 58% of them admitted to coffee badging. Like 58% of them are already coffee badging. 34% would prefer to just work the full day in office on their office days. And then 8% don't coffee badge, but are interested in doing it. So again, that's facts right there.
That's some pretty big facts. And so I guess the question that it kind of leads to, if you think about people and humans, is what is at the crux, like what is at the crux of that issue? Is it, you know, as a leader, are we not reflecting enough and listening? As an employee, are we being assertive, or, you know, almost too much, or, you know, what, it's that human component, both sides. What do you think? What do you think it is, or what do you think needs to happen?
I think, and we've spoken about this before, is COVID forced people to work from home. There wasn't an option. And then all of a sudden, staff could see, well, employees could see, well, I can do the same level of work or even more from home, deliver what I need to deliver, but still have time to put in the washing, do the dishes, pick up the kids from school, have a bit of flexibility. So I think it's that something was given. It wasn't really, here you go, we'd love to give this to you. It's like, here you go, we have to do this. But now it's being taken away. And I think people are, and this is just human nature, if you can understand something, you can accept it. But there's a lot of situations where the question as to why do I have to go back to the office full time if there's not going to be a difference in what I'm delivering to the organization. Now, that's a very broad statement because there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes into play. But that, I think that's what it boils down to. So I've spoken with people in Brisbane that have resigned because they were told to go back to the office 5 days a week. Or they've been told to go back to the office, they have to be in the office 2 or 3 days a week. But their team sits in Sydney and they work 3 days a week. And the days that you are on site in Brisbane, you're communicating via Teams or Zoom. So why am I in the office if my team sits remotely or in a different state and I'm just doing exactly what I would have been doing at my home office? It's taken me an hour to travel in. I have to travel an hour out, spending money on public transport. I'm spending money on lunch and coffees. I think those are the questions that people are asking. If there's no impact on the delivery, why am I going back into the office? Which is a very black and white question, because as people, we probably need a bit more of the connection, and how do you build culture and all the other stuff that goes with the having people back in the office. But I think that's the crux of it. It's the why do I have to go back?
Yeah.
Explain it to me, and if it makes sense, I think people will be able to accept it.
Definitely. I also have, like, even some clients that we've worked with, they have even said that we prioritize outcomes over presence as well. So I think fostering that culture where you can have that open communication, embrace flexibility, because it's not a one size fits all for every individual. Like, mine and Suki's lifestyle, very different. Suki's got kids, I don't, that sort of thing. So for Suki to be able to drop her kids off at school and pick them up, she can't be in the office, say, until, I don't know, 9 o'clock, and then may have to leave at 3 o'clock. And with me, I can be at the office between 9 and 5, but some days I may have to start at 10, or I may need to leave at 3 for appointments, or just anything like that. Yeah. So I think it does come down to, just that culture and management and employees working together to embrace flexibility and prioritize outcomes over where they physically are sitting working. I think that's, the main sort of key points or take homes with what we're seeing in the US.
And let's be honest, if there's a loophole to be found,
people are
humans will find the loophole. So that's why coffee badging has, somebody got away with it one day and thought, I'll try it tomorrow, and it happened again, and then it's like, okay, so this is a thing. So
snowball effect.
Exactly. As humans, that's just our nature.
Yep. If we want something, we will find a way.
Find a way to get it. So, which makes it actually, it's creative and it's thinking on a different level. And that, I actually think that that's creative. So use that creativity within your organization and work with people to find a solution that works and is still fair across the whole organization, where people feel, well, I understand that, and I think that that's fair. As I said, it's not a black and white question, and it's not a black and white answer either. There's a whole bunch of different shades in there. But I think when Tayla and I discussed it, we're like, this could be a really interesting topic. And honestly, I don't know exactly how I feel about that. I feel in some way it's a little bit deceitful and sneaky. And then on the other hand, I'm like, well, wasn't it a little bit deceitful giving something and then just taking it away? So humans never cease to surprise us.
And I wonder how long it is going to take for it to hit the Australian market, whether it's, we see it in Brisbane, Sydney, wherever. It would be really interesting to even find out those stats when it does, or if it does. So and how companies are working with their employees to try and combat that, I guess.
Correct.
And would you say it's an opportunity for people to be proactive in leadership, take time to connect with employees and say, look, we can see that you're not satisfied with your current working arrangements. We understand that there's a bit of, I suppose, I don't want to say unhappiness, but dissatisfaction with the, come back to work mandate. What's your ideas about how, we can make this work, not just for you, but for us as leaders and as a company?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And it's before the mandate comes out, before a decision is made, take people on the journey and at least let them be heard.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's just no way around it because it's a massive organization and you can't have 7 variations of one rule or one decision. So it just is what it is. And as an organization, if you then make that decision, you are aware of the fact that that might mean that you're losing employees. The same as in the past, or even now, if an organization moved offices. I had years and years and years ago, we had a government department that moved from the city outside of the city. And that meant that a whole bunch of people, a huge impact on their travel, which meant that they lost a lot of staff, but that was part of the planning process. So that's the flip side, is planning on having a loss of staff if you put in a mandate. But I think even if that mandate's really good communicated, people have been heard, and the reason for saying this is what we have to do and these are the reasons why, you might be surprised at people going, okay, I understand. I don't 100%, I'm not 100% happy with it, but it's good for the majority. It makes sense for the majority.
Yeah, and there's a reason behind it. It's not just saying you need to do this. It's like when you're a kid, they say, don't touch that. You want to touch it. So it's like, it's the same thing, but just in a different context.
Yeah.
And I think it's an opportunity as well to kind of see what other ideas people may have out there too, so that everyone can achieve what they want to achieve. Often the answers can come from the teams. They may have thought of something that somebody else hasn't.
Correct. 100% correct. So the poll is up. It's under the Montague Facebook page. Tayla, you've got it on your page as well. I've shared it on my my LinkedIn page. Please go vote. We would love to share the results with you at the end of the week when all the stats are in. And we might just put up a post, Tayla, maybe to go, this is the results we found.
Definitely.
And then keeping an eye on the trend.
Who knows? We could have another episode and that's titled "Coffee Badging Has Now Hit Australia" or something like that. Who knows?
I reckon it's already here, I would say.
Or it 100% would be, but
I just don't know if we've titled it.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Or a title for it. Now it's named.
Yeah. So if you are coffee badging and you're in Australia, let me know. Hit me up.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on it?
Anonymously.
Yeah. Why did you choose to do it? Yeah.
So that's it for today's episode of Conversations That Connect with Montague Group. To join past and present conversations, make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, and let us know what you would like to have a conversation about next. Thanks for connecting with us, and we'll chat with you soon. Bye.